Marion Carlon here, the relationship expert who always keeps it raw. And ladies and gentlemen, I always keep it real. Welcome again to the 10 warning signs of a troubled relationship or marriage. Again, the 10 warning signs of a troubled relationship or marriage. I want to welcome you all to video number 3. This is Marion Carlon, the relationship expert who always keeps it raw, and I always keep it real. Video number 3 is this particular topic, the demise of communication. Video 3 is all about this particular topic, which eats at the very core of most relationships, the demise of communication. How in the world can two people fall in love, spend 1 month to 1 year to 3 years dating, getting engaged, finally spending another 6 months, planning 7 months, a year, planning for the wedding, that's 5 years, finally get married, go into a level of having a marriage, having some phenomenal years in your marriage, in your relationship, in your commitment to being significant others to one another, and all of a sudden you are finding yourself in the demise of communication. How in the world does this happen? How in the world have you let this happen? How in the world do you feel because this has happened in the demise of your communication? Fellas, men, I'm addressing you first. How have you let this happen? Why have you let this happen? My real question to you is, what did you contribute, or what have you contributed, men, for this happening? You guys are not talking anymore. Now, I'm talking about really communicating. Women, you're not really talking. You both, men and women, are talking to outside resources, but you're not specifically talking to one another. Women, you're talking to a lot of your female friends. Men, you're talking to a lot of your male friends, but you're not conversing and talking to each other. Do you want to know why I believe what my experience is from being a relationship expert and life coaching couples all across the United States and globally? You know, the internet is a very powerful tool. I find that men and women are not communicating because you all do not feel like you're heard anymore by your particular spouse or your particular significant other. You don't feel like you're being heard. So this is what you're doing. You're not communicating. You're talking about everything else, but you're not talking about the bolts and the nuts of why you guys are communicating ineffectively. This is what you do. You both have a crazy day. Everybody has to work. We have to provide for ourselves. We have to provide for our children. Some of us are providing for stepkids. That's a wonderful thing. Some of us are providing for adopted kids. Some of us are providing and being caretakers for our parents. But we are providing, or loved ones. We are providing. We have a crazy day at your particular job. Several things happen. You know a list of 3 or 4 components, and now you've gotten to this place where you both are cordial to one another in being in your marriage, or you're cordial to one another in having your relationship with your significant other, but you're not communicating. So you have a very typical bad day, or you have a very typical test, trials, a day of trials and tribulations, okay? And you feel like the last person that's going to be able to really relate and listen to you is your particular spouse or your significant other. So you talk, you come home, and you want to share, but you don't share. You want to engage with your spouse or your significant other, but you don't share. Why? Because you don't feel like he is going to listen. You don't feel, ladies, like he is going to listen, ladies. And men, you don't feel like, she is going to listen. You don't feel like they're going to listen. So you don't engage, but this is what you do. You come home and you have this horrible day and you want to share it, but you don't share it with the person that you're in love with, or the person that you've been in love with, or the person that you want to be in love with, or your significant other, or your spouse. You say this. You say, honey, what are we going to have for dinner? And she's looking at you like, you know what, baby, honey, what are we going to have for dinner? Like it's her responsibility to make dinner every day? I don't think so. But you both need an opportunity to really share your day, but you're worried or you're concerned with, well, let me keep it light. Let me just say that I'm just going to choose to focus on what we're going to eat for dinner. So you have a discussion about, well, we could have tacos tonight, we could have spaghetti tonight. I love eating organic food. We can make grilled vegetables, grilled chicken, and we could go eat Mexican food. We could go eat Greek food, Mediterranean. We could call it in. We can go get it. We can order a pizza. All these different things. When everybody wants to eat, and you got to eat, but this is how you're engaging. This is how your relationship is now. It's futile. It's not effective. You guys are going through the motions, but you're not really creating, and you're not really communicating. You're talking about things that you need to do, task-oriented, but you're really not talking about your emotional content. And you're really not talking about or communicating how you both feel. And you necessarily don't want to share because both of you are scared of being rejected. Both of you are scared of, she's not going to understand. He's not going to understand. Let me go over here and talk to Sarah instead of talking to my significant other or my spouse, ladies. And my question to you is, shouldn't your spouse or isn't your spouse or wasn't your spouse at one time your best friend? Wasn't that the person that you communicated with and shared every single thing? Remember again, you're on this sliding scale. It started up here, but all of a sudden now you find yourself down here because of the lack of connectivity and all these different disappointments that's happened over the years or over the months or over the time that you spent with him or her, where you've been disappointed in, I'm giving myself to you and yet and still I feel misunderstood. I'm giving myself to you and yet and still I feel rejected. I'm giving myself to you and yet I feel like you just don't get me nor understand me nor do you really support me. So you're not really communicating anymore. Ladies, you're spending more time communicating to all your different girlfriends and all your maybe your colleagues at work and women who may be able to relate. And men, you're doing the same thing. You're talking to all your bros and all the guys that maybe you work with or your fraternity brothers or the men that you have hobbies with, and you're relating, and both of you are complaining. You're talking to other people, other people who have significant others and spouses, men who have wives or girlfriends, fiancés, significant others, and women who have spouses, who have husbands or significant others or future fiancés, and you're talking about each other, to others, but you're not talking to each other. And it's a serious problem. And it's made you get to this point where you're listening to me now on the 10 warning signs of a troubled relationship. And if your relationship is in trouble, if your marriage is in trouble, you need to wake up. And you need to own that, there's a problem with me communicating to my spouse. There's a problem with me communicating to my significant other. And how in the world can I bridge this gap back to the closeness that I once felt with my husband, the closeness that I once felt with my wife, the closeness that I once felt with my significant other? How can I bridge this gap? How can I bring this back and get this in the middle? Do you know what it's going to take? It's going to take, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to take you putting yourself out there. It's going to take you absolutely putting yourself out there and creating the space. Men, let me give you a pointer or two in this nugget, in this video, on how you could create the space. First of all, you need to do something disruptive. You need to do something that you haven't done in a very long time that means something and is significant, where you are literally, think about this. Think about fishing, and you're casting your reel out there, and your reel has bait on it. You're luring and you're casting it out. You have to cast it out. Cast. Throw it out there. You got to put yourself out there, men, to create some space where she might feel and have enough of a feeling and a space of attention for you that she said, you know what? John hasn't done this in a long time. This is different. What is he up to? Does he, ladies, this is how you think, he probably wants to, of course, have sex with me later, make love to me later, but maybe, just maybe, he may be wanting to really connect with me. Men, you've got to put yourself out there, create something different. Go back and remember all the romantic dinners or all the romantic venues that you went to, or the places you took her when you didn't have any money. Just a romantic, lunch at the park, sandwiches. You remember what you did, man. You're going to have to create the space to create a level of opportunity to reach out to her to say, I want to connect with you more. And men, let me tell you something. I'm